good song. People don't wanna hear a song about birds. People wanna hear a good song. People don't wanna hear a song about birds.
Hello, my fellow hunters, my fellow travelers through time to a bygone age of monsters that are, well, different to the monsters we currently have, but still monsters and terrifying, like the ones we have right now are still terrifying, but maybe terrifying-er. Either way, we are looking to the past, the extinct behemoths, the no more titans, and the once were squawkers. Yes, today we're squawking! Squawk! What's important, I think, for everyone moving forward is that we never mention the fact that I squawked again. This time around, we are going to look at the grandfather bird of all bird wyverns and his two children who went down very different paths. Yes, indeed, the ancestor of every single bird wyvern to be, the wyvern rex of the birds, is Igurueibisu. Yes, indeed, Igurueibisu. This beautiful feathered friend, and beautiful he is indeed. I absolutely adore this. It is very distinctly a beautiful combination of both the bird wyverns with the wings and, you know, the more flappy classic ones, and the bird wyverns that are the raptors, the drones, the run around on the grounds, the akus. And that is, well, perfect, yet it carries that more wicked edge. It looks definitely devilish.
Yes, what I'm going to do is evolve my descendants into being some of the most irritatingly awful, quirky monsters. I think I'll call one Gypseros. It's perfect! Everyone's going to hate that!
And so on and so forth. Though, to be fair, I think Quirky is right, and I can't deny that the bird wyverns arguably have just the most personality of, well, the wyverns. There is something just so deeply endearing about them, from their flaily, squawky attacks, to their twitchy movements, to their moments of true personality that they seem to capture, I'd say more so than a lot of the other monster types. And of course, they at least do have their champion, their king, their one badass member in the form of Yangaruga and his psychopathic onslaught. So really, it's hard not to like all of the bird wyverns, except bloody Gypseros. And you, Kurapeko! You summoned one too many, Devil Joes! Ah, who am I kidding? I can't stay mad at him and his colourful trumpet fun. Okay, so, this lovely Igurueibisu then, well, it does share the same common ancestor as Wyvern Rex, so it very much was the bird wyvern of its day, to the Wyvern Rex being the pseudo-wyvern flying wyvern of its day. And it evolved long before Wyvern Rex, though it was around at the same time, and it has these lovely blue feathers, the orange tinge at the tip. It's a very spiky looking creature, the hooked beak, the scything claws. It looks like it can both fly with respectable speed and grace and run just the same. It really does look like an effective predator appearing out of nowhere and ruining your day with as much trickery as raw power. And honestly, I would absolutely adore this as, well, a third category of bird wyvern. The kind of hybrid, not full raptor, not full flyy flaily, and you get a equal adeptness at both ground combat and aerial combat, something much more determined, much more agile, and much more deadly. A very small opponent, but one that is mercilessly tough to take down, that combines the very best of this entire order. As deadly as Yangaruga, but a lot more dimensions to its onslaught. Like my my favourite ever best boy, Malfestio, and his bag of tricks. I think that would be so much fun, and you could make them all have this slightly more, well, off appearance, this more serious visage, this more evil nature, make them very bright, colourful plumage, and give them this whole identity separated from the other two chief types. But those other two chief types, yes, they have their ancestor, Bird Wyvern too. Let's begin then with the ancestor of all the raptor-like bird wyverns, from the Velocidrome, to the Gendrome, to the Iodrome, to the Geodrome, to the Great Baggy, the Great Jaggy, the Great Roggy, the Great Macau. Okay, seriously? I like these guys, I do, and I appreciate that they exist, but mother of God, they carry with them the least creative diversity in all of Monster Hunter. Oh, at least Great Macau's a boxing feathery kangaroo bird, and that is pretty badass, but bloody hell, the rest of them. Well, okay, except Great Jaggy 2 as the most powerful monster to ever have existed of all time. He does get a pass. And I do suppose that both Kula Yaku and Titsi Yaku are much more interesting. They have very cool little gimmicks. In fact, a gimmick that really harkens back all the way to many thousands and thousands upon thousands of years ago to Keputosu, the OG raptor bird wyvern, and still got remnants of wings, though not a adept flyer by any means. The rest of his physiology, though, is fascinating. So this guy was a fish eater, using the scooping, jagged, toothed beak to hook them out of the water, though it was also very intelligent, very cunning. It could problem solve, and the problem was, well, I need to get fish. How do I make it easier? Well, it would use its lovely hand claws at the end of its wing arms, pick up rocks, throw them in the river, knock some poor fish unconscious, and then leisurely scoop them out. It could also hold objects with its prehensile tail, the hooked hand-like setup at the end to wrap round and drag boulders and other some such novelties wherever it needed them to be. There is even evidence to suggest that it could pull a Kurapeko and mimic the calls of other animals and summon them to cause confusion as it could escape. Now, despite it kinda not really being able to fly, it couldn't really do too good running either. This was very much the bridge, the halfway point. It could get around fine, but not do the full-on sprint that the bird wyvern raptors that we know can do. And eventually it went that route, lost the wings completely, and ended into a much more streamlined hunter that could run very fast, very far, and get what it needs to get done. But I love that even in these more extinct, more savage-looking incarnations, it still carries that silly personality. It throws rocks in rivers and donks fish and eats them, which, don't get me wrong, is very clever, but I like that the bird wyverns are still pulling shenaniganery like that way in the past. And it sounds like this guy was a lot more effective than Kula Yaku. Kulu! Then finally we have the ancestor of all the flying bird wyverns, your Yankutku, all the way to the latest one in Coral Pookie Pookie. And this guy is Borudoru, and he is very interesting indeed. You can kinda see the path being taken, bulkier bodies, larger wings. He looks definitely like he could stand alongside Gypsaros and Yankutku and not really look out of place. Less colour as well, just the red red crested helmet, a very interesting shaped beak, lots of spikes going out of it, and just such a short, stubby little tail with a few bristles going on. This guy, there is not as much to really talk about. Its closest direct descendant is likely Hypnocatrice, because, well, it very much resembles it, especially the odd shape of its beak, though it does have a few differences from it, and this guy really isn't sporting much on the feather department. He's also likely a full-on carnivore, and, well, eventually ended up giving us all of our flying feathered friends that we have today. Though really, again, there's not much more to say about that. While the flying ones tend to be more interesting and a better fight than the raptors, they definitely are less fun to talk about at the very least. Though this guy I do really like the look of, a very stocky bird wyvern that seems to have some sort of trick up its sleeve. You can kind of tell just looking at him, there's something there. He's thinking about something. But there you have it, guys. That's your ancestors of the birds. Which is your favorite? Which do you like the most? Would you like the kind of midway third category point of them, like our friend Igurueibisu? I most certainly would. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kinda relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.